Hey, hi everybody. Hi. So Patty and I are back for our this is, I guess, our second official Coast to Coast Reiki Chat. The third time we've been on video together, but it's our second one? Yeah, our second one. So last week we talked about what is Reiki? Basically answering the question, what is Reiki? And we chatted about that in that video. You can find it wherever you're watching this. It'll be in a list with all the videos, so you can find that video. Tonight, we're going to talk about our backgrounds and how we found Reiki and how we got into this. And I don't know, do you want to start? But yeah, right?
I'm trying to think, I actually heard about Reiki quite a long time ago, probably in around 2004. I had a local acquaintance who all of a sudden was certified in Reiki and opened up a studio in town and had an open house. And just to support her, I went in. And she told me, you want to lay down on the table, I'll give you a treatment. And didn't know what to expect, hadn't heard about Reiki before that. And
but you laid down on it, so you went ahead and laid down on the table.
I went down, I laid on the table. She said she wasn't going to touch me. And very relaxing. And I was like, okay, just close your eyes and relax. And I was blown away, honestly. I felt more relaxed. It was such a state of relaxation. And all of a sudden I started to cry, which is really bizarre because I went in there happy. It was busy. It was a Saturday. I was like running around, and here I'm laying on this table, and like tears just started flowing from my eyes when my eyes were closed. And I can remember sitting up on the table, and I was like, what did you do to me? She was like, that happens quite often. It's just like a release, and I was like, wow. And it wasn't like I was sobbing, like I was sad or anything. It was just like a release, it's like you're just so busy running around and, not really breathing or anything. And then you lay there. So that was my first experience. I was just blown away by how relaxed I felt,
Oh.
So that was great. And then, a little while after that, I was skiing with my husband, and had pulled my knee. And my husband took me skiing on the weekends at a local mountain. And one of the other ski instructors was also a Reiki practitioner.
Okay.
I didn't know at the time.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but she had heard that I had hurt my knee, and I was like kind of resting it. And she came over to me and she's, asked me if she'd like to share Reiki with me. Because it would make my knee feel better. And I already had that one experience, probably a year before or whatever. I'm like, sure, And again, I just couldn't believe, here we were in a busy ski resort, and I was just sitting in the chair, at like regular metal chair at one of the lunch tables in the cafeteria area. And she placed her hands on my knee and told me just sit there and relax, and I could feel the warmth of her hands. And again, I just felt something release in the knee. And it just felt, almost like having a heat pad on my knee.
Oh, yeah.
It really helped.
Did you cry in the ski resort or no? Okay, that's good news.
It was a different experience, but again, it was more of a, and overall, I felt like my knee kind of released a little bit, and it did feel like heating pads, which made the knee feel great. And I don't remember if I skied again or not after that day, but it was it was a good feeling,
Mm-hmm.
It was like Advil and a heat pad,
Right.
All without taking anything.
So, yeah.
I kind of didn't think too much about it, and then later on, I started to develop food allergies, and I was in a very high pressure sales commission-based job with what I was doing. And I had to eat out a lot and entertain, clients and that. And I had a lot of bad experiences with a food allergy. I was allergic to any kind of believe it or not, alcohol and wine vinegars and things like that. And in restaurants, they use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting like a lot of anxiety about this because I had a lot of bad experiences where I would ask ahead in the restaurant, what was in certain things, and they would tell me it was fine, I could have it, and then I would have a reaction, and you're in a business setting and things like that. Around the same time, a local Reiki teacher had advertised for a Reiki class, and for whatever reason, I think part in the ad, it just talked about, it helps release stress and anxiety, and I have always come from a more holistic approach with things. Like I love meditation. I like to, try to let nature heal as much as it can without,
Mm-hmm.
trying medications or anything else first. And so I was like really intrigued to see. And so I took a Reiki class in 2015, I think it was, with not really an intention to teach it necessarily at the time, just for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and to learn self meditations and self Reiki for myself. So if I was away on business and I was having a little anxiety about having to eat out, which brings a lot of pleasure to most people, but for me, it's like putting myself in that situation again, where I'm making a reaction in front of people I don't know.
Yeah.
It made such a difference on overcoming that, and the more you practice it, just the way you react to situations and deal with the stress of leading up to things, right?
Yeah.
So I went through, my intention was to go through Reiki 1 and 2, and I was just so interested in the philosophy and the practice of it that I decided to go on to the advanced level, the master level classes, just for myself,
Yeah.
But then when you find something that's so fantastic and that helps you heal, I was just sharing it with everyone anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you have to try this. It's really made such a difference in my life, And then from there, so I started to practice just on like some friends and family if they would let me, So I kind of like fell into it that way. And when I took those classes, animals were touched on just a tiny bit, the focus was really for people and for myself. But what I did notice was my dog would always want to be with me when I was doing a self-treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I was practicing on my husband, or my kids or something, my dog was always there. Mm-hmm. And I also noticed a lot of times after treating someone, she would like lick my hands. Or, so I knew she sensed the energy, and I also sensed her also sharing it,
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to, because the teachings that I had from different teachers and things that I was reading were pretty much, you treat an animal the way you treat a human, you go over like chakra areas, and it was more of a hands-on kind of thing. But because of my experience with my dog, noticing that she was more interested and wanted to be involved when it wasn't hands-on,
Yeah.
That's when I started to like get on the internet, and I kind of, stumbled across Kathleen, and her experiences were very similar to mine with the animals and letting the animals lead. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like what led me into that whole philosophy, and it just something clicked,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's funny how your practice evolves, when I first started, it was definitely more people focused. Mm-hmm. And then friends and work acquaintances started asking me more things about their pets and animals. Yeah. And so I started to treat more animals and learn more about the animals. And really, when I think about it, and you're probably the same way, I mean, just growing up, I've always loved every kind of animal. You know, I'd always bring home strays or rescue baby birds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I remember even band-aiding a worm once. I asked my mother for a band-aid to put a worm back together that I so accidentally.
Oh, precious.
I band-aided up a worm. But I mean, it's just like, you know, animals are so present, you know, and life gets crazy sometimes. And I just always found the most peace, you know. I'm not necessarily a camper, but I always like being out in nature and among nature and just sitting quiet. And, you know, I just find still today, like just so when I'm stressed out, that's what I do. I'll go in my backyard and like watch the deer or the turkeys or the birds or the butterflies, you know. And I just love the way animals make me feel. And I can't say enough whether it's, you know, you choose to practice Reiki, teach Reiki, but just the self-care part of it is just really, really changed so much in my life, the way I react to stress. I don't react as much, I guess, you know. Kind of like you don't have that overreaction or that run on emotions as much, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
helps. It really helps you ground.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I was talking to a friend last week and I was saying how it's interesting because Reiki almost gives me a place to funnel the energy or kind of feel it move, you know? It's like when the anxiety builds up or even like anger or sadness, like we were specifically talking about situations where you're just so sad and you just feel so sad about, I mean, it happens all the time with animals, right? But or
Yeah.
a situation going on with somebody in the news or something, and you know, it's just like you can send them Reiki, and you can, you know, it's a way to somehow feel like the energy is positive in situations that sometimes can be hard, you know. It's yeah, 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 I agree.
It's just, and the energy that you emit too, I think really draws people to you because, and I don't know if you find this too, but it's like people just like open up to you and start telling you things that sometimes maybe it's a little oversharing. Oh, you know, I'm a good listener, but I also think it has to do with the energy. You
Mm,
know, when you listen to someone with your heart, you know, and you just really listen.
yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of us don't do anymore.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think people are drawn to that. People are drawn to that energy, you know, and I think you also become more sensitive as to when there's toxic energy around,
yeah.
toxic around, right? You can kind of like distance yourself
Hmm.
more from that, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just changed so many aspects of my life. You know, who I surround myself with, you know.
Hmm.
Um, it's also helped me deal with grief, loss of animals,
Hmm.
because my whole belief of energy and the transformation of form
Hmm. Hmm.
is, you know, obviously it's not the same when you lose a pet or a loved one, that you're not going to see them in the physical sense anymore. But my understanding of energy, that it never dies, it just transforms, has really helped me cope with that loss, knowing that they're still with me, they're still in here, you know. So yeah, so there's just so many aspects of this practice that have helped me in so many areas of my life, you know,
Hmm.
and that I can in turn then help like other people with it and animals with it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find that too? Like, is your
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, it's interesting. I don't know where I first heard about Reiki. Probably in the early 2000s, like you did. You know, I don't remember, but I know when we lived in Japan, wanted so badly to learn Reiki. And it's funny, I moved there with like books and stuff to teach myself, and I was always too busy. And then I still, it blows my mind, but every week for over 4 years of living there, I had a calendar alert that would tell me about this free Reiki share that was going on like Tuesday nights or something. And I never made it. Like 4+ years, I never made it. And it's indicative of like the life I was leading. I was just so busy, busy all the time. And I just never made it a priority. And then 2 years ago, I guess it was, when I also, I mean, similar with food allergies, but got sick and, found out I have the autoimmune disease called Graves' disease. And I also have celiac disease, which is one of the causes of it. So my doctor changed, put me on a really strict diet, and I was really sick for a while. And one of my closest friends is an incredible Reiki practitioner and teacher. Her name is Tara Reynolds. She lives here in LA, and she basically, it's funny. It's like it took that to bring me to Reiki. And at the time, it only brought me to Reiki, like, I want to say as a patient to her, kind of. So I was going through so many different medical avenues. And, it's like all of a sudden when you're going through like the medical stuff, you're spending so much money on,
Right.
tests and just all these different things. And I was like, I'm spending so much money on this. Like I can pay for Reiki sessions, it's like Reiki was like something I always wanted to do. So, Tara, at the time was doing it. And so I asked her if she would do Reiki sessions with me. And so she did. And I don't know, I want to say we were meeting like weekly, and the sessions were just incredible. It was amazing. And so, but I was kind of like, I need this, which I think I tend to do with everything in my life, but I was like, I need more, like I need more of it. So I was like, how can I do this like at home for myself every single day? Just once a week, I felt like I needed more. And so she said, well, I can teach you level 1. And so she taught me level 1. So I feel extremely lucky because I ended up going through level 1 one-on-one with an amazing teacher once a week for, I think, 4 weeks. So I probably had like 8 to 10, 12 hours of training in my level 1. It was incredible. And, and she taught me just so much. And so I basically was just doing it for self-care. And so then I really got into it for self-care, and started to be able to tune in and feel the energy a little more. And then Tara actually found Kathleen in the Shelter Animal Reiki Association. And, she knew like how passionate I was about helping animals. And so she's the one who said, hey, you should check out this group. And then that's how I found Kathleen. And so then I went through, her classes, and then ultimately went, worked through the different levels on the people side and on the animal side. And then obviously we met in Florida at the Reiki master or teacher training, Animal Reiki. So that was kind of my path through it. And, now it's one of these things that I just can't make it enough of a part of my life. It's like, I just am constantly wanting to do more of it. So, it's my family members, I was thinking when you were talking about your knee, on the ski slope, and, it's nice because it's like every time something happens to my kids, I immediately can put my hand and, you can feel the energy shift. And the same thing with myself. Something happens to me. I mean, yeah, I was like, this one's taking a little longer to come around, but but yeah, I mean, it's
That though.
What'd you say?
Well, it's not that, you're going to place your hands on a broken finger and your bone's going to heal. You know that, but it's a great support for the healing, because it's putting you in a good headspace to allow your body to heal. If we're running around stressed out and anxious and exhausted,
right,
it's hard for your immune system to do what it has to do in that state of mind, right?
yeah, right.
That's where Reiki comes in, and it's like such a great support.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try to explain to people, even with their animals. I'm not going to come in and, it's probably not going to cure cancer. There's miracles happen. I mean, it's probably not going to make, a tumor disappear,
Right.
or,
Right.
a physical, a broken bone, although you hear people saying, it does that, and maybe it does speed up the healing, because again, you're in that calm state where your body can do what it has to do, right, for cell repair, stuff like that.
Right.
But it's a great support to all of these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
I would never say it replaces it,
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. And I think that's why I also tell people, for me personally, at least, I've found that trying to bring it into your life so it's in some means of a daily practice, or at least many times a week practice, I think that's where you can see like a ton of benefit, at least that's what I've seen with me, so it's like, that's what I tell people as well. I mean, and I think I was going to say, it's, meditation practice does that, right? And then for me, what's just so exciting about the Reiki is it's a meditation practice along with some very tactical things that I can use to kind of shift my mind or direct my attention to something that then allows me to get into the meditative practice,
That's a good point too, because I had tried meditating for years, on and off.
Mm-hmm.
And because I thought you had to be able to clear your mind, totally. Like, I thought I was a terrible meditator. I can never do this. My mind is always, in 8 million directions. And so I just would always stop, because I could never get anywhere, because I would sit for 30 seconds and think about everything I should be doing instead of sitting there,
Yeah.
And then going through the practice and learning, different meditations and visualizations and things like that to help us calm down and get to that peaceful state, that's where all healing takes place. You don't have to clear your mind.
Yeah.
And like, that really woke me up to that. So now my meditation practice is better, and I'm really a busy person. You're a busy person. Doesn't take a lot of time really to be able to just sit down, even at, 3 minutes of breath work.
Right.
Down. I mean, some days I don't even breathe until my Apple Watch tells me to breathe. And then it's like, then you go, right? And you realize, I wasn't even breathing. So that's why I think like the practice, like the principles and the practice have really helped it spread out to all areas of my life.
Yeah.
So many. And then just allowing animals to be our teachers, because they're always present. And it opens, right? It's like you start noticing things. People laugh at me now, because now, like, I'll walk to the mailbox and I'm like, hello, bee,
Yeah.
Hi, bird. Thank you. That's a beautiful song. Like, you start just noticing. I notice, so I'm so aware of more things around me than, normally you're just rushing and you miss.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, if it wasn't for Reiki, like, I don't think all these things would have been opening up, and I would notice, and really be grateful for all the little things, all the little critters around and stuff, as much.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just so much more aware
Yeah.
of it, and the importance of everything.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So that's our backgrounds, I guess. Yeah, so that's our backgrounds, basically. That's kind of like how we got into this. Yeah, so if you guys,
who knows, right? Where we'll
I know, exactly.
Evolving. Yeah.
Right, right. So if you guys have questions about our backgrounds, how we got into it, how you can get into it, please let us know. Love to help you connect with Reiki. And if you haven't already taken that first step, take that first step to think about doing some of the just the self-healing meditations. I think it's a great place to start. And we'd love to help you do it. Love to help you find the resources to do it. So definitely.
It doesn't take a lot of time either, which I think is really great. It's the kind of thing where even before you get out of bed, you could, do a really short meditation, or just, be conscious of your breath, for a couple of minutes, just to bring you down. And then maybe at night, but it's something that you don't even have to do every day. But over time, the practice just really helps you get through everyday life,
It really does. And you really start to be able to sense energy more. It's so funny because this is making me think of Mia, my daughter. At one point, I want to say a couple months ago, but we were playing with crystals, which is a whole nother topic that we're actually going to cover on this at some point. But she could feel, she's 8, and it's, she could feel the energy of them. I mean, it was amazing. Like, I couldn't feel it. Like, I was like, I'd put it around my face or something, and I couldn't really feel it. And she'd be like, whoa. Like, I mean, she could really feel it. And then for some reason, I was giving her Reiki that same day, and she goes, whoa, Mom, you've gotten really good at Reiki. And I was like, well, it doesn't actually have anything to do with me. But it's interesting because it's like, as the time goes on, you can feel the energy flowing more. And, even though it's, I said, like, I don't think it has anything to do with us as personal individuals, but I think the more that you're able to open up and relax and feel that energy moving through, the more you can sense it and the more you can feel it. And apparently kids, I think, probably can feel it a whole lot better, just like animals, than we can as adults,
Well, if you think about it, your dog knows, right? If there's someone that's a good person or not a good person, if they're angry, if they're happy, it's that same sense of that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, in a couple of the volunteers in different shelters that I volunteered at have said to me they noticed like how quiet it is when I leave. There's a dog and cat shelter, occasional birds. But they're so, so they notice, the animals are so much more relaxed, or they're sleeping, or there's not as much barking, when I leave. I have one client, I have a regular client now that just shared with me recently. She said her husband, they were discussing doing something over in the house, and he's like, you're a lot calmer these days. I mean, like, I was expecting you to get really upset with whatever they were talking about. And she's like, all is well.
So funny.
That's one of the things I say a lot, but I think it does. Like, you don't even realize it, but here's someone that comes from regular, sessions, and things don't, she says, yeah, this doesn't bother me. Things get done, they get done. And so,
yeah.
To be able to bring that to someone, without having to use any medication
Right.
or anything, but just to help people,
yeah,
be a lot less stressed and just handle things, situations a little differently,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think something we definitely want to bring to everybody around us. So if you're watching,
the world can use more of that now, right?
Yeah, for sure. More love, more compassion, more understanding. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if y'all have any questions about us, our backgrounds, anything about Reiki, please let us know. So
have all our contact info posted, right?
Yep. Yeah. So all right, cool. All right. Well, I think we ended up talking a lot longer than our 10 minutes on this one, but so be it. So, all right. We'll let everybody go for the night.
Have a good day. Good night.
Yeah. All right. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.